Part 3, Perspectives, Back in the World, Differently. My ninth lesson is the lesson in humility, and that self-importance is false currency. It's been so nice for me to talk to you about all these lovely qualities of, graciousness and gratitude and grace. What I'm less proud of is to tell you how much envy and jealousy I felt over the last year and a half. I really wanted my friends and my family to keep me abreast of what was happening in their lives, but it was really hard for me to see that everyone else's life was going on, and I felt envy. And then worse, when I finally was able to go back into the world again, which was this last summer in July, I went to Los Angeles to see my daughter and son-in-law. So I'm really excited. I'm going on my first trip, after a full year. And I get to the airport, and people are coming and going out of their cars, people reuniting, people saying goodbye, everyone rushing with their luggage, and the Delta employee hands me my ticket, my boarding pass, and I'm just like, hello, does anyone notice this is like a major world event? And it like hit me, the world had gone on without me. And I was kind of insulted. I was like, wow, not even a blip on the screen. Hello there. What I came face to face with is the world doesn't really need you to be here to keep turning. And in fact, Sue Monk Kidd put it this way: it is the particular nature of the world to keep spinning no matter what kind of heartbreak is going on. Now, I know you guys know what I mean, that when like you've lost someone who you love and you're grieving and you just kind of can't believe that the world is going on, it's just continuing on. Try knowing that about your own existence. It is a trip. And you may think, oh my God, that's so like so self-important, so self-absorbed. But the truth is, even if it feels an insult at the beginning, with it comes incredible relief. And in place of self-importance, we have these feelings of humility and vulnerability and human fragility. And those, my friends, are beautiful aspects of the human experience. And we can take those to the bank until our last breath. Lesson number 10 is in gains and losses. It would be hard for me to talk about going back to work without feeling emotional about it, because it was so exciting and it was so terrifying. I had a 2-day seminar scheduled in San Diego, and it would be the first time that I would have to use a walker as part of my training. So I have 4 broken vertebrae in the thoracic spine due to lesions on my spine from the cancer. And I have about a 15-minute limit on my feet before I'm in terrible pain. Thus, I use a walker. So, here I am in my first seminar, and I look different. My hair, I didn't have much hair then, and I've got my walker, and I, disclose my disability, and I say, hey, you guys, you're seeing accommodation in motion. I don't really know what I'm capable of doing. I'm here to find out what my capacities and my limitations are. And I swear to God, that first morning of training, I felt like I was just jumping off the cliff. Like, where are you going with that example? Oh my God, where is this story going? And then like, whew, I could just feel my wings picking me up and taking me, like I knew, another part of me knew where I was going. And I'm like, yeah, I still got it. At the end of the second day, I heard one of the participants said to me, she gave me a great gift. She said, Denise, not only did your walker look organic to you, after about an hour, I never saw it again. That's the dream, right? That whatever it is that makes you different, whether it be a disability or your skin color, your gender identity, your age, whatever it is that makes you different from the rest, and you know the focus is there at the onset, you would hope that your message and your purpose are bigger than that, and that at some point that difference becomes non-essential. So what I found out was I might use a walker, but I can still do the dance. I don't mean to make light, however, of this limitation of my mobility because it's a huge loss in my life. And it's like I can't even take in all the losses that it does represent at once, which is probably a good thing. But I come upon them. Oh, I can't dance at the wedding anymore. Oh, I can't jump in the water. Can't sit on the floor and wrap Christmas presents hour upon hour. And every new limitation, it's like, oh. But I want to share with you a perspective on loss from a writer who was a great photographer. And he had an accident when he was mowing the lawn where a piece of wood shot into his eye and he lost half his vision. And he writes, someday, when I leave this world, I'm going to have to give up all of my sight and my hearing and my sense of taste and my sense of smell and my sense of touch and my limbs and my face and my hands and my memory. Gee, I think I can start with giving up half my vision. I just thought that was so beautiful. And I kind of feel that, yeah, I use a walker now. So what? I can still talk and read and write and create, and I feel like I'm on a learning edge of where my work will lead me next and new forms of that my work may take. So I'm learning a little bit, how to be in the world differently, but I'm here so happily. There is, however, one loss this year that was most profound that I really want to just mention, and that's the loss of my immortality. And you're thinking, Denise, that really wasn't yours to begin with. No, but it was a nice illusion. I love when Albert Einstein says, of all the mysteries of the world, the most startling is this, that while everyone knows that everyone will die, everyone thinks of himself as an exception to that rule. And I always thought that was quite funny because, of course, I was still an exception to that rule. So you may say, well, Denise, isn't it kind of nice that now you can live with reality rather than illusion? Sure. But I'd like to tell you what's been lost. I remember looking out at the future like this, beautiful white scroll of paper upon which anything could be written, planned, executed without having to question the limits or parameters of my time on Earth. Like you would never question, well, how many waves can come in the ocean before they stop? How many more stars in the sky? But what I realize is that carefree immersion into life without the presence and threat of an illness and the existential questions that it brings is a total gift. I used to live in the spirit of Henry Thoreau's words, carefree and light-fitted, I take to the open road. What we all imagine is that road will go on and on and on. So, you know what? Everyone will lose the illusion of their immortality sooner or later. Just not you or me, right? Lesson number 11 is a lesson in urgency and the privilege of being me. With the idea that, wow, my time is limited here on the earth, I realized, oh my God, this light that is my light is going to be extinguished at some point. And it hit me that it's been such a privilege to be Denise. I like being Denise. And I don't want her to be gone. And I want to be faithful to her and what she has to bring to the world. Just as I am. Not as I hope I can be someday, but with this imperfect body and this imperfect life in this less than perfect world. So when I think about the criticism, the most common criticism I've gotten through my life, oh, she's so happy, she's too positive, she's so Pollyanna, she's just like wears her heart on the sleeve, she's too sentimental, she's too unemotional. And you know what, you guys, I realize that all these aspects of myself that kind of drive people crazy is what makes being Denise Marie. That's the best part of being myself. I love how I love. I love my joy. I love my enthusiasm. And I want to live the rest of my life being true to what is in me without worrying about other people's story about it. So I live with 3 new aspirations. Number 1, to be faithful to all that rings in me as true and genuine and authentic, and not worrying about other people's stories about it. Why would I forfeit my authenticity for someone else's story? Number 2, I want to be honest about my happiness and know that it's always been in my hands and never out of my hands. Sometimes we let ourselves think our happiness, is about our work or our relationships or our home or our financial security, when really, you guys, in our hearts of hearts, we know it's about embracing ourselves, coming to peace with who we are, with choices we've made and not made, knowing we've done the best we could with what we had. That happiness has always been in our hands and remains in our hands. And the third is to be loyal to my own becoming. Knowing that if I'm still here, I'm still growing, I'm not done, I'm still evolving. And even the person I am here today, maybe she will be, as David White puts it, the ancestor of some future happiness. I would like you to meet a couple of my heroines who I met for the first time this last year. What you're going to see here are actual posts from Instagram. The first one on the left-hand side is a picture of me the day of the bone marrow transplant. And I write, "Stem cells received. The chemo I received yesterday will slowly take my blood counts to 0, and then those warrior stem cells will wake up and get some shit done, starting about day 7. As far as I'm concerned, miracle work happens on this floor." And I look at her face and I think who's going to criticize her for being positive? I'm so happy that she was positive. And then you look at the woman on the right, complete bald head, walking down with her chemo poles. Oh my God, did I hate those walks. They tell you, get up, walk 4 times a day. Every single time, I did not want to get out of that bed. But I did, because I knew I needed to be able to get to the next place on my journey. And then I meet the monk. So, okay, know that if you're bald and you look at your shadow, that's like a frickin' monk looking at you, right? And for weeks I would be freaked out by her. And then one time I just turned around and I just looked at her and I took her picture, and this is what I wrote. "I'm being followed by the shadow of a monk. When I stop to notice her, she is often full of quietude, like a wild thing spotted in the forest. But when I'm patient and approach her with love and curiosity, she speaks to my heart in that ancient language we call intuition. She doesn't badger or complain or point out my shortcomings, nor does she speak in haikus or platitudes. She is a wise and smiling figure, although faceless. She assures, affirms, and encourages all that is life-giving. She makes me want to be a better person and to embrace every moment as a precious gift. Here's her mantra: breathe in life, breathe out love." That's it. And then I turn, move towards the sun again, knowing she always has my back. So my question to all of you is, why do we always look outside ourselves for the piece of wisdom or hope that we need, when all along it's inside us? And the best teacher is going to return us to ourselves. Finally, one more piece. The picture that just went up on the screen, that is a picture of myself the day before my diagnosis. And at the year anniversary of my diagnosis, I looked at that picture and thought, what would I tell her if, I could speak to her now a year later? And my answer is, oh my God, prepare for the life of your life. Let it all happen to you. The pain, the fear, the doubt, the sorrow, the denial, the generosity, the gratitude, let it all happen, because this is the stuff of life and you don't want to miss a single moment. The next picture is the picture of myself with my dad when I returned to the world in September. And I really love the quote above, "Let me fall if I must. The one I will become will catch me." That's what it means to be loyal to your own becoming. The last lesson, number 12, was a lesson in self-care. Hope takes work. The transformation from any negative state to a positive one requires some kind of movement, some kind of action, from loss to perspective, from doubt to confidence, from despondency to vitality. These leaps don't happen through wishful thinking. They require hope, which is like a faith in life, and vision, but they also require courage. And in order to have that, we need to take self-care so seriously. What if we worried as much about recharging our own battery as we do worry about charging the battery on the phone? We have to take care of ourselves from day to day in order to be a real keeper of that flame that I was talking about earlier. And you know what? For everybody, what you need to do that is different. I can speak for myself. Daily spiritual practices are essential. And one of the things my spirit needs is beauty. I find like watching flowers grow is like a tutorial in hope. Having candles and flowers and color around me like feeds my spirit like food feeds my body. Connections, like, I forget who said it. I think it might have been Henry David Thoreau, that you have to make yourself necessary to someone. And I think about those relationships, like with my daughter, with my stepkids, and my grandchildren, and my nieces and nephews, and their children. They make my life feel necessary. And in fact, they make me feel like my life is worth really fighting for. To keep hope alive, man, we need friends. And I'm not just talking about like making nice or just like nice acquaintances, but I'm talking about those people who are part of your heart tribe, who like get you and like celebrate you, like they fully see you, and they call you on your crap because they also see the potential in you, those future selves I was talking about just a little bit earlier. But I also feel that in self-care, it's not just who we let in, it's what we keep out. They say that after nourishment, shelter, and companionship, what we most need are stories. But not just any stories. Stories that feed our hope, not our fear. You guys, what is it about us that when we hear about someone who's in a challenging situation, we have to tell them the worst stories ever about other people who were in that situation? We are such a sick species. So like the woman who's pregnant hears about like these terrible labor, or someone going through a divorce hears about this terrible, conflict in a courtroom. I cannot tell you how many horrible stories of multiple myeloma I have been told in the past year. What is that about us? Because, here's the thing. Hope does take work. And you need to ask yourself when you're going to share something with someone, okay, so is this story going to, feed her hope? Or is it going to feed her fear? Because if it's going to feed the person's fear, you know what? Take it elsewhere. We have to be so respectful that people, we're all trying so hard to live open-hearted, hearts open like flowers to the sun with whatever our experience is. Why would we add something that makes that flower close like a fist? We have to make it safe for people to share their journeys with us, because that human connection of sharing that journey, oh man, there's nothing that builds hope more than that human connection. I'd like to end with a really beautiful piece by the Native American novelist and poet Louise Erdrich. And I chose this piece because I feel like it speaks to so many of the qualities we've talked about: graciousness and gratitude and being in the moment and readiness. And you know what? Living life full to the brim, savoring every moment. And so I put it up on the screen for you to read along with me. And she says, life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that, and living alone won't either, for solitude will also break you with its yearning. You have to love, you have to feel. It is the reason you are here on earth. You are here to risk your heart. You are here to be swallowed up. And when it happens that you are broken or betrayed or left or hurt or death brushes near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Assure yourself you tasted as many as you could. Peace out, my friends. Thank you for joining me.